April has already ended, so I think it's time for me to tell you the good, the bad, and the dirty of the books that I've read this month. I read 8 books in total, so let's see which ones I liked, let's see which ones I did not like, and let's see how April went on, because it was a very hard month for me. So let me tell you everything about my readings. Hi, hello, how are you? And welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Beatriz, your host here on Beatriz Book Nook, and this is my little corner of the internet. So welcome, and today what I'm going to be doing, April has already ended, so I think it's time for me to tell you everything about the books that I've read this month. It was a roller coaster because I had some really nice books. I also had some not so nice books. So I think it's time for me to tell you the dirty, the good, and the bad. So I think that's it. Yeah, if you like this video, don't forget to hit the like button, and also, since you are down there already, hit the subscribe button and maybe leave a comment telling me which one was your favorite read of the month. And if you don't feel like chatting a bit, tell me, just put a green heart emoji in the comments down below, and I will see you very soon with my books for the month. This month was a very chaotic month, very hard for me to deal with my mental health, but saying that, you think, oh, you have only read 1 or 2 books. That was not the case. I actually read a lot in the beginning of the month, which made up for the end of the month when that was not so good. But saying that, I did read 8 books in total, but one of them was a DNF. I will talk a little bit more about that later. And I have rated on average 3.6 books. Actually, I don't think I gave a 5-star during the month of April, which is quite sad, but also it's normal because I was not in the right mind place during the month. So I did 1 DNF, as I said before, and I think that's it for some of these stats. And I think for my yearly challenge, I am halfway through. So I think I have read so far 25 books during the year, which is pretty impressive, if I say so myself. For someone who used to read 1 book a month, I am on 25 right now, so I'm quite happy. So let's start with the first book, and I think that will be the DNF. Okay, as I said in the clip before, let's start with the DNF, and that book is Happy Place by Emily Henry. I did not DNF this book because I was not liking. That was not the case that happened here. I read 56 pages of it, and stuff happened in my personal life that I had the need to DNF this book, only because it talks about some stuff that I was dealing with and I was not able to fulfill it and keep going. But I did read 56 pages of it. I really enjoyed it. I will come back to it, so it's not really a hard DNF, it's a soft DNF for me. But at the moment it was not the right book for me to be reading because it was making me a lot more sad than what I wanted to be. So I made the decision for myself to honestly really just stop with this book and go into my comfort reads. This is the first book that I want to talk about. It's very short because honestly I don't have much to say, because it was a DNF, and not because it was bad, just because it was not the right time to read it. I'm doing this in random orders, but the next book that I want to talk about is Barbarien Alien. This is the second book on Heist Planet Barbarians, and in this one we follow, I know his name is Raosh, but her name, I think it's Liz. We follow Liz and Raosh, and he basically kidnapped her because he was afraid that the tribe was going to take him or her away from him, and he kidnapped her and made her accept stuff that she really did not want to. But this is the second book of the Ice Planet Barbarian. We are still following the same community, the same tribe, and the same people that we met on the first book. I enjoyed this. I did not like this book as much as I liked the first one. I think I gave it 3 stars, and it was only because there was not something, I was not despising the book. So there was some actions in it that made me not like it as much, but honestly I was not despising it. I actually had some fun, but it did not give me the emotions to honestly give it at 4 star, so I think I ended up giving it 3 stars. And if you want a fun smutty time, this will be it. But also this does not deal so much with like trigger warnings such as SA and all of that. So this one is a bit more light, but I did not like I did not like the relationship as much. I did not like what happened in the book as much. I think it felt very bland to me in a way. So that's why I did give it less stars than I gave the first one, but I still really liked it, or enjoyed it at least, and it was an okay read. It's a book that I've read. The next book that I want to talk about, and you probably have seen it around because I did read this book during one of my vlogs during the last month, but that one is The Vegetarian by Han Kang. This book was weird. In this book we follow 3 different perspectives. I think it only has like 3 parts, and the first part is the husband of the vegetarian, and we follow his experience with her in the beginning of turning the vegetarian and why she is turning vegetarian and stop eating meat. The second part is her brother-in-law, and then we follow a little bit more of the middle of her journey in a way. She goes through some like psychiatry stuff, so because of that she goes into the hospital, and in a way that I see it, her brother-in-law took like advantage of her. It's weird to explain, but for me he took advantage over her. And the last part of the book we follow her sister, which was the woman that was the most concerned about her, because she was like, my sister cannot like feel for herself, cannot fend herself off with like the troubles of society and all of that, and her sister was like really worried about this girl that was vegetarian. The things that happen in this book and the way that they happen are so weird. The men in this book are despisable, honestly, since SA rape her, they force her, they beat her. There is so many trigger warnings in this one, and it's such a small book that I was very like, whoa, oh my goodness. But I really can see this as being like a critic for the Korean society. I understood, but it was hard for me to see it because I understand Korean society, but I am not a part of it, so it can be a little bit harder for me to understand it, and the way that they see people as vegetarian and the way that they act with people as vegetarian, because this woman's family were not as accepting her being not eating meat. They almost forced her actually to eat meat. So it was an interesting process to read this book, and in the end I rated it 3 stars because it was weird. I did not understand everything and I was confused in the end. So a book that leaves me confused, but I still understand the story a little bit, I give it 3 stars. I have more in-depth like thoughts in my vlog that I did, so if you want, maybe head over there to know a little bit more of my thoughts on this book. But it was weird, so be aware, and with the trigger warnings and all of that, just be careful. Okay. The next book that I read, and these are in no particular order, was the Bromance book club by Lyssa K. Adams, and this is the first book in the Bromance book club series, I think. And in this one we follow Gavin Scott, and his marriage is going through some hard stuff. His wife asked him for a divorce and he's not really accepting it, not because he feels like there is not love, but what happened for them to divorce, it's really stupid, I am going to tell you. And it has to deal with lies and all of that and not telling each other stuff, but because he wants to salvage his marriage, he goes to his friends to ask for help and for them to advise him on what to do to get his wife back. And they tell him this secret is that they have this Bromance book club where they read romance books to know what women like and how to deal, not how to deal with them, but in a way what to say for them to like them a little bit more And because romance books are written by women, so romance books are a good way for them to like study the woman brain in a way. So that's basically what happens in this book. I liked it. It was my first second chance romance. I liked it, but I felt a spark missing. There was something that this book did not have that I wanted, and I wanted more, and this book did not have more. It was very slow burn, but it was fun still. And in the end, I think I gave it 3.5 stars only because of that, because I think I felt like something was really missing in this book, and I cannot pinpoint what it is, but something is missing here, and that missing is what made me give it 3.5 stars. But this one to me almost felt like we were really delving and reading like a scripted, something scripted. It did not felt real to me, honestly. So I think that's what made me give like 3.5 stars. But it was still good, it was still a fun time. I want to read the other books just to know what actually goes on in them, but I felt something missed in this one. I really feel like that. So my rating just relates to that. The next book that I read during the month of April was Godkiller, and I'm trying not to go too much into depth into this book because I have a full-on vlog about it. But in this book we follow Kissen, and Kissen, she is a godkiller, and one day comes a girl and one tiny little god come and asks her for her help to understand why this girl and this god are connected to each other. If they go like very but if they go apart for very long, they start to ache, so they want to understand what is happening for that connection to actually be in place. So they start a journey to the land of the gods that is like forbidden to enter. Only the pilgrims, I think, can enter this place, and it is with like very hard blackmail and giving them some coin and all of that, and a lot of stuff happens here. But I did give this book 4.75 stars, almost a 5 star, but what made me deduct that 0.25 was the writing style. It's very flowery, it's very eloquent, it's a lot for me, but the story was so good I could pretty much pass on the writing style and enjoy the story as it is, and not have that hard time, because I did read this book in like 4 days, which was quite nice. But I did really like it. I cannot wait to read Sunbringer because the ending made this book for me, guys. But you can see all of my thoughts a little bit better on my Godkiller video or vlog that's on my page already. I will try to link it up somewhere, either in the description box or up here in the little cards. But yeah, this was one of my reads, and I think one of my favorite reads actually, because I remember that I actually have a 5-star read coming. Okay, so the next book that I actually just finished a few hours ago was A Tempest of Tea, and in this book we follow this girl named Artie, and she is a vampire and the owner of a tea house. And this tea house is very special because during the night it actually turns out to be a blood house. And this book deals with found family and the heist, and there's a lot of things going on. But that basically what happens is that Artie's tea house, Spindrift, is going to be closed because the Ram, and the Ram is like the president, the mayor, like the one that commands that city, does not want Artie and her group to live in that city anymore. So she blackmailed a family, the proprietors of Spindrift, of the building, to like give them the papers for the building, and now Spindrift is in danger. But they, in a way, Artie found out that there is this ledger that they can use to blackmail the Ram into giving them Spindrift, so they have to steal it, and a lot of things happen. It's just not this. This is the big picture of what happens in the book. I found it quite interesting. I like the characters. They were all very different, and none of them felt very like underwhelming to me, which is quite interesting because sometimes when there is more than one point of view, one of the characters tends to feel a bit underwhelming to me, but this was not the case. I really liked most of the characters. I felt they were very unique to their own like limitations in a way, so I really enjoyed it. But in the end I felt like there's something missing. I felt maybe it was a little bit more action. I honestly don't know, but I ended up giving it 3.25 stars, although it was one of my most anticipated reads of 2024. This book actually ended up overall not feeling what I wanted it to feel. It was nice to read during having a hard time mentally, but something was missing in it, and that's why I ended up giving it 3 stars and not like 4 or 5 stars. During the month, I also finished Starling House by Alix E. Harrow. This book follows Opal, and Opal has these strange dreams about a house that she has never been inside of, and that house is Starling House. Starling House is known as the haunted house of the city, and there's a man living there. The man that lives there is Arthur Starling, and he is the warden of the house, and he is the only person that knows what really goes inside this house and what secrets it has, because Starling House is not just your normal common house. Starling House actually is a portal for the underworld, or actually the underland. That's how they call it in here. Opal one day becomes one of the housemates for this house, and she discovers that the house has a will of its own and actually wants Opal to be one of the next wardens. So for the next warden to happen, the house needs to like feel that someone is lost, that someone does not know where to go next. So that's how they choose who the next warden is going to be. But this book deals with a lot of gothic vibes, which I loved. Actually, I loved it a lot more than one book that I've read before, and it also deals a little bit with the supernatural. This book was really interesting, but I was very confused during the most part of it, because I felt like I did not have enough like context to know what was actually happening, which is fine, but in a way I missed something, I feel like. So I like this book. I actually think I ended up giving either. So it was one of the other books that I gave 3 stars during the month of April, because I felt like something was missing. There was a lot of action, at least a little bit. The vibes were there, but because I was so confused with how and why the house appeared, I could not understand everything that was actually going on. So that's the reason why I did give it 3 stars instead of a 4, but I really enjoyed it. The writing style was very easy to follow, and the story in itself was interesting. But something missed for me to understand this story in a deeper level. This month was chaotic. I don't know what I'm saying anymore, but yeah, that's my rating for Starling House. I don't think I'm even saying stuff right at this moment, but I liked it. I just did not feel the spark for it to be a 4 or 5 star. Okay, and the last book that I have and that I read, actually was the first book that I read in the month, is Our Violent Ends by Chloe Gong. This is actually the only 5 star that I gave during the month, and this is the second book of the Our Violent Ends? No, this is Our Violent Ends. Our Violent Delights. I really enjoyed that book. We follow Roman and we follow Juliet, and they are from different gangs. So this book also happens in Shanghai during 1927, and these gangs have a feud between each other, and Juliet and Roman actually like each other, so they cannot be together. This is a Romeo and Juliet retelling, so I can tell you that this is really nice. I like this book a lot more than I liked the first one. This book gave me all of the emotions, and I think it ended in a really nice way. I just fell in love with this book and this series all over again once I read this book, and I am recommended it to everyone. Just be aware the first book is not as good as this one, at least to me, but I think it's pretty good and I think the story is very interesting and it's a duology. So yeah, this is the only 5 stars that I gave during the month of March. Not March, during the month of April, and I really enjoyed it. I think it was amazing, so that's why I gave it 5 stars. But also, I don't have more to say. I don't know where I'm trying to go with this. Okay, so this is all that I have for today's video. I think it was a little bit of a mess, but at this point, who cares? The month of April was like kinda okay to me. I have had better months, but in terms of reading, I think 8 books in a month was pretty good. Well, at least 7 in some pages, and I really enjoyed most of the books that I read during the month. And yeah, so don't forget, guys, if you have reached this point, to hit the like button, and while you are down there, if you are not subscribed already, please hit the subscribe button, and also comment down below which book was your favorite book of the month of April. And if you don't feel like chatting, please leave a green heart emoji, and I will see you all in the next time for my next video. So until then, I hope you have an amazing day, night or evening wherever you are in the world, and that's it. Bye bye, friends.